This video is on converting from standard form to vertex form using the method of completing the square. Remember, standard form is y equals ax squared plus bx plus c, and vertex form is y equals ax minus h squared plus k. The first thing I need to understand is what a perfect square trinomial is. This is a perfect square trinomial. What we're trying to get is a box that is a perfect square, meaning that the length of one side is the same as the length of the other, making it a square and not a rectangle. This is the area that we have to work with. So if we took our algebra tiles and started figuring them out, we have 1x squared to work with, and we have 8x's to work with. Since we want the same length on each side, we need to split up the 8x's evenly. So 8 divided by 2 is 4. So we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 x's on this side. And we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4 x's on this side. What this is going to give me is a side length of x plus 4 and a side length of x plus 4. We also know that we have an area. Our area includes 16 one blocks. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So this factors into x plus 4 times x plus 4, which really is just x plus 4 squared. This is a perfect square trinomial. Looking at our next example, we have x squared plus 6x plus something. What we're going to do is use the method of completing the square to make this into a perfect square trinomial and factor it. So right now what I know is that I have one x squared block to work with. So I know that I'm going to have a side length of x plus something. Since we have 6 x's to work with, we need them to be the same length on each side, so we're going to divide the 6 x's in half. So we're going to have is 1, 2, 3 x's to work with here, and 1, 2, 3 x pieces to work with here. So what we need to find out is how many ones blocks go in here to make this a perfect square. So what we can see is that we're going to have plus 3 x blocks on this side and plus 3 x blocks on this side. And if we figure that out, we can see that we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 ones blocks over here. So we need to add 9 to complete the square and factor this into x plus 3 times x plus 3, which is x plus 3 squared. And we got that because these are our dimensions of our perfect square. If you've noticed, when we're factoring these perfect square trinomials, we're getting them into a binomial squared. That's helping us put it in vertex form. So we're going from standard form here, and we want to get it into the form of ax squared plus bx plus c. I'm sorry, we want to get that into a times x minus h squared plus k. So right now we have x squared plus 2x minus 3. If we look at this as a block, we want a perfect square. We still have our x squared piece. We have 2 x's. We need to split that up evenly. So we're going to have an x blocks here and an x block here. So that's going to give us our x squared and 1, 2 x's, which means that our dimension is going to be x plus 1 and x plus 1. So we know to make this into a perfect square, this is going to factor into x plus 1 squared. However, to get that, we know that 1 times 1 is 1. So x plus 1 squared is only going to give us 1 unit block to work with. We need -3 unit blocks. So how can I go from 1 to -3? Well, -3 minus 1 is -4. So if I take away 4 unit blocks, 1 minus 4 is -3. So what this tells me is if I have my perfect square of x plus 1 squared, I need to take away 4 more 1's blocks to get it to equal x squared plus 2x minus 3. Let's look at another example. Here we have x squared minus 2x minus 8. So if I make my block, I've got an x squared, and then I've got -2 x's. I need to divide that in half so that each side has the same length. So I'm going to put a -x here and a -x here. This is going to give me dimensions of x minus 1 and x minus 1. So I know my perfect square is going to start with x minus 1 squared. Looking at this, -1 times -1 gives me an area of 1. So I know that x minus 1 squared gives me 1 unit block. What it gives me is x squared minus 2x plus 1. But I want mine to equal x squared minus 2x minus 8. So how do I go from 1 to -8? Well, -8 minus 1 is -9. So I need to take away 9 blocks from my perfect square in order to get it to equal this. Therefore, my final vertex form is x minus 1 squared minus 9. And if you look at this, we can see that the vertex is going to be 1, -9. Try this problem on your own, pause the video, and when you're ready, press play again and see if you have the right answer. All right, we have x squared plus 16x minus 22. So I know I'm going to have a square that's going to have an x squared block, and then I have 16 x's, which I need to divide evenly on both sides. So 16 divided by 2 is 8. So I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 x blocks here, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 x blocks here. So this is going to give me x plus 8 and x plus 8. This is my perfect square. I know that it's going to simplify or factor into x plus 8 squared. I also know that 8 times 8 is 64, so I'm going to have 64 1's blocks. So if we look at this, what we really have is x squared plus 16x plus 64. That's what this equals. But I want mine to equal x squared plus 16x minus 22. So how can I go from 64 to -22? I'm going to do -22 minus 64, and that's going to get me -86. So to go from this one to this one, I need to take away 86 blocks. So my vertex form is going to be x plus 8 squared minus 86. The best way to know if you did it right is to then multiply this part out, subtract 86, and see if you get this answer. Pause the video and try this one on your own. All right, looking at this, we have x squared plus 8x plus 12. If I make my block, my square, I know I have x squared, and I have 8 x's that I have to divide evenly. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 x's. So 4 x's on this side, and 1, 2, 3, 4 x's on this side. So I know my two sides are going to be x plus 4 and x plus 4, which is going to give me x plus 4 squared. I also know that 1, 2, 3, 4 times 1, 2, 3, 4 is going to give me 16 blocks. So what I have is x squared plus 8x plus 16. But I need to get to x squared plus 8x plus 12. So to go from 16 to 12, I'm going to do 12 minus 16, which is going to give me negative 4. This means I have to take away 4 blocks to get to 12. And that means that my vertex form is going to be x plus 4 squared minus 4. Pause the video and try this one on your own. All right, we have x squared plus 12x plus 40. So I'm going to have my box, and I know that I have my x squared, and I have 12 x's that I need to divide evenly. So 12 divided by 2 is 6. So I'm going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 x's on one side, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 x's on the other side, which is going to give me x plus 6 and x plus 6. These are my dimensions, and I'm going to get x plus 6 squared. Now we know that 6 times 6 is 36. So what this really is x squared plus 12x plus 36. But I need mine to equal x squared plus 12x plus 40. So how can I go from 36 to 40? Well, 40 minus 36 is positive 4. So this time I need to add on 4 to get my final answer. My final answer in vertex form is going to be x plus 6 squared plus 4. This is the last example, so pause the video and try it on your own and see if you've got this mastered. All right, we have x squared minus 10x plus 31. If I draw my box, I've got my x squared box, and I've got negative 10 x's that I need to divide evenly. So I'm going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 x's, negative x's on one side, so x minus 5, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 negative x's on the other. So this is going to give me a dimension of x minus 5 squared. Well, we know that negative 5 times negative 5 is 25. So we're going to have 25 1-unit blocks. This means I'm going to have x squared minus 10x plus 25. But what I really need is x squared minus 10x plus 31. So how can I go from 25 to 31? Well, 31 minus 25 is positive 6. So my final answer is going to be x minus 5 squared plus 6. And this is vertex form. So the best way to master this is to practice. So keep practicing and you will get this in no time.